Hey y'all, hey, what's up? I am super excited because I'm here with my girl, Lauren Buckner, business and legal strategist. Y'all, like, I've been waiting for this conversation for a couple of weeks now since we decided we were going to talk about the things we're going to talk about. We had a little powwow on Friday just to kind of catch up and, like, get on the same frequency. And, woo, I can't, just wait. Like, I'm just excited. So, Lauren, please introduce yourself. What is it that you want to share with the people before we go into it?
All right. Well, great day. Great day. Yay. Drop some fire in the chat. My name is Lauren Buckner, also known as the Business Builder, and I help you women build strong businesses on a solid foundation to leverage that business income and create money babies. All right. I am a lawyer and a business strategist merged into one. And I literally have kind of revamped my life and my career to come out and work with you, the regular woman, to help you literally understand not just how to build a business, but understand the importance of a strong legal foundation, understand the importance of a strategy, and also to understand how to take the business income and grow that money and grow that money and grow that money. I am just a regular woman. And I want to say that I'm a regular woman just like you, who just so happens to be a lawyer and just so happens to have experienced a lot of things in life that I'm now using to help you improve lives. So I am really, really excited to be here. I am in my home office. I say my home studio, right? In Washington, D.C. I am from St. Louis, Missouri, the show me state where we don't talk about it, we be about it. And that's exactly what I'm about to do tonight. I'm going to be about it, be super transparent, and talk to you about not just how to win, but talk to you about how I've lost several times and how I've rebuilt so you can do the same thing.
Yes, I love that. Listen, like, first of all, you're just so dope. Like, I've shared this with you privately, but I feel like, it's important that we also share flowers for people publicly. We just met earlier this year. Like, I keep thinking it's been longer, but it was earlier this year on Facebook. And it just stemmed. I think I reached out to you and like invited you to one of my master classes. You were like, "Oh, I can't go, but I want to talk to you. Like, let's connect." And the rest is history. And I'm truly thankful that you are someone that I did connect with and was able to have a real genuine conversation with because like you said, you're just a regular woman, who's had your ups and your downs. And sometimes we look at women of your excellence, right? And we say, like, ooh, she's got it all together. I don't know if I can connect with her. I don't know if, there's anything we have in common. And it's really important that we really have conversations with people and really get to know people and allow ourselves to be transparent and like, even if it may feel uncomfortable, like that could be your person, but we have to open ourselves up to be willing to let those people in. So thank you for
Thank
just
you.
being awesome and just being like down to earth and all the good things.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Well, I'm gonna send it right back to you, sis. Thank you for being awesome because actually the way that happened is that I was following you, right? Become Facebook friends with you through I think just like common friends. And I was like, I'm crushing on her. Like, I really like her. She knows what she's talking about. And yeah, and I was asking about the workshop and I couldn't make it. And then you were so nice to like say, oh no, but that's okay. I'll send you the replay and all those great things. And then we were able to jump on a conversation like on what was it on Facebook, I think. No,
But
StreamYard. I think we
yep.
got it together. And then, everything else has been history. And so I'm going to give you your flowers right back because I think you are super dope.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's jump into this book, girl, because show the book, show the book,
Show
show the
the
book.
book. Show the book. Show the book.
I love it. Listen, I was like, okay, I was reading, like, I was boo hooing for like 5 minutes straight when I got to like a part where you talk about your childhood. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you just really don't know what people have gone through based on what you see now. So, first, like, talk about what and I like what made you say like, okay, now I need to like share this share my story and where I came from. And how was it like writing all of that and then knowing that wow, I'm really exposing a lot. And like how did that feel to kind of push through that and get to, the success of the chapter?
Ooh, child. Well, let's just talk about it. First of all, you said the word feel, and that's exactly what happened. I had to like literally feel and relive and rediscover who I was. The first question, why did I write it and why was this the time? For a long time, I had been wanting to share my story, right? And as I introduced myself, I'm a regular woman. I literally am just like the other woman that's looking at this show, right? I wanted to share my story to connect, right? To really connect with women and little girls and to really empower them, to show them that, listen, just because you start off a certain way in life doesn't mean you have to end that way. To be able to show them that, yeah, you see me here as a successful attorney, but I got here scrapping, I got here fighting, and I got here against all odds. And so for a long time, I've been wanting to tell the story. And for those of you all who've read the chapter, you'll understand, when I say my story wasn't just my story. And so I had to wait. For me, I felt like I needed to wait to a certain time in my life because a big part of the chapter is about my son, my youngest son. And I wanted to wait until he was of age to give me the authorization to share the story, right? Because that's the big impact in the chapter. And so, once, we kind of talked about it and he said he was okay with me, coming out to share the story. And I explained to him, the importance of it and the layers, obviously there I have to talk about myself first before I get to him, but there were layers to it. He was really actually kind of excited for me to share the story. And so like that was empowering for me as well. But writing the story or writing this chapter was something that I really did not expect, right? And I think I see my writing coach, my publisher, my mentor, and now one of my best friends, Raymonda Jan, here on the live. I worked with Women Thrive Media for 7 months to birth this chapter. And when I submitted or when I applied to be part of the project, in my mind, I already had the story written, right? So I am a lawyer. I'm very type A personality and I like to be in control of things. And so I knew in my mind what I was writing, how I was going to write it. And as I started the process, I did not understand really that I needed to actually feel. So you
Mm,
use that word, and how did you feel? I was kind of robotic at first, I'm going to be honest, because again, I had the message in my mind that I wanted to get out there. But in order for me to really, really get that message out, I had to go back to little Lauren. And I wasn't even going to talk about little Lauren really in the chapter, right? Like
mm,
you weren't even going to get that. In my first draft, you didn't get that. Like if you looked at my first draft versus where I ended, totally different because I was coming in right kind of like in the middle, which is what I tell people don't do when they start their businesses, right? I wasn't going to talk about the foundation because to me, I had suppressed a lot of it. And to be honest, I was really ashamed. I was really
mm,
ashamed of where I came from. And I did not realize how much shame I had until I started to write. And as I worked with Raymonda, she always would be like, but what next? But what else? But how did you really feel? And, she'd wait and pause. And, she really was trying to get us to pull things out. And for a long time, I was just like, I wasn't giving it. And then I don't know what happened. I just took a deep breath and started to embrace the process. And every week, we worked together every week for 7 months. Girl, I was crying. And I'm not even the crier, right? I was the tough girl of the whole crew. And by like week 4 or 5 or 6, I was the one that was crying every week. Like I was, it turned out to be, I'm talking about like, and I'm talking about that ugly cry, like deep cry. Like I would be done for the rest of the day. I couldn't do anything else after these writing sessions. But what was happening is I was really purging. I was really unpacking all the things that I had just suppressed, a lot of those things that I had just passed through life. Because for me, I'm a survivor. And so for me to really relive those things and keep them in the forefront of my mind was almost like my kryptonite. And
mm,
so the way I was able to make it through life is to move and push, move and push. So I moved through things and then pushed whatever was happening out. And I had to really have these different compartments in order to survive. And so this process, it forced me to go back and relive and to really pull out the importance of what I had experienced, what I'd gone through. And that really gives the significance as to where I am now.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that. But I think that that speaks to growth, and then knowing that we really need to, if we're out here and we have our business and we're building a brand, like we are the brand. So there's only so much like picture perfect, this is who I am, the business owner, that we can show up to where it's like, she's holding something back. Like I can't quite connect to her, and there's some reason why. And it's usually because we put up that barrier. We don't allow ourselves to feel or be vulnerable publicly because of all the shame that we're carrying. When a lot of times there's someone waiting to see if there's someone that can understand where they came from before they move forward to work with that person, because they probably have that shame and they're like, oh, nobody gets me, no one understands me. But then when they're like, Lauren, oh my God, Lauren went through this, that's my business strategist, that's my legal strategist, like I need to work with her because we're one and the same, like. So I think it's really important that we allow ourselves to, one, feel, because feeling, it can be heavy, but it also feels good, when you work through those emotions and actually feel the things. But also just being vulnerable and transparent so that people can really see like who we are versus just the brand that sometimes shows up and not the actual human that we are.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then I think also what this story really helped, I think what I hope it helps women see that I work with, or that I come in contact with, is why I'm so pushy. Because a lot of times women will be like, girl, get off my back. Like, why do you care so much if I win? Why are you trying to push me so hard? And I'm like, because you can do this, you can do it, you can do it, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. And so I think sharing my story also hopefully gives a little context to why it may seem like I'm like always on your back. Like, okay, so what's going on? Where's the second stream coming from? Where's the third stream coming from? Because, as in the story I talk about, my mother, hitting rock bottom, and, that was it. And when she hit rock bottom, and she was a nurse, a registered nurse. And when she hit rock bottom, she became an alcoholic, and that dried up. Her money was gone. Our money was gone. There were no other streams. There was nothing else to come in to take over, the income that we lost. And so in essence, then we lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a scrapper in the sense where I'm like, listen, I don't care if it's a trickle here, a drip, drip, drip here, a big stream here. We got to have some coins coming in from every direction, because at any moment, and I've experienced it myself as an adult, one of those streams can go.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? Now you out here doing something strange for some change.
Right. Well, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And everybody know what you mean too. So it's like, don't put yourself in that position when you have the opportunity to prepare.
Yes.
And I find that a lot of times people are very reactive when it comes to their finances and their foundation and all of that stuff. It's like, until it's a problem, it's not a problem. Like, oh, that's okay, I got time, I won't do this, I'll do that. But then when something hits, then it becomes crisis. And then it's like, oh my gosh, now I have to do all these things when they could have prepared and been in position for that. So that kind of leads me into like the finance piece. So you were pretty successful, which you can kind of like, if you want to share like a little at the beginning, you can. But I want to point out the fact that you were making really good money when you graduated college. And as I was reading, I was like, wait a minute, what year did she say this? And how much was her salary? Hold up. And I want to just, ask you, like, what was that journey for you, the financial journey? Because I know you mentioned that, you had your ups and your downs. What did you learn from the lows and the highs? And what are some of the things that maybe you would have done differently financially?
Yeah, so you're talking about my first job out of law school, which was like, so right, that was 2006 when I graduated, and I came out with, a six-figure offer. I think it was 110,000. I had to go back and look at my offer letter after we talked the other day. So it's $110,000 with the sign-in bonus. I think it's like $75,000 sign-in bonus, right? The first thing I did was buy a house. Because we had not had our own home since I was like 8, right?
Mm.
I had always lived in someone else's home, lived in the back of stores, lived in condemned buildings. And the one thing I wanted always was to have my own home that nobody could ever take from me. And I would be able to, be comfortable. But to get there, to be honest, it was the biggest surprise. I had no idea I was going to be able to even get that type of salary. When I started law school, I started off as a single woman.
Mhm.
Right. And so, in the chapter, I really reveal, how I became a mom. And that was very untraditional. My children are adopted, and they are my nephews. And that was not planned. Right. So I started off law school with pretty much just my savings. I had just moved back from Bolivia, South America. I'd been there for 2.5 years, dancing, living the great life, came back to come to law school to go back to my third world country to just live off of, the land and be this like free spirit person that I am. And then the end of my first year of law school, life just took a big dramatic change. And I became a mom of 2 kids. And I had no financial plan. And I
Mhm.
found myself at a place where I told myself I would never return. And that was back in poverty. Because while you can make it by yourself, I now had 2 little people who needed money. I had to have a different life. You can't live the same way that you lived as a single person. And I had to go back on food stamps. I had to go back on state assistance. I had to go back to like community organizations and shelters to get clothing, to get food, different things that I needed to keep us afloat. Places that I had to dwell when I was younger, places where
Mhm.
I said I would never go back, right? Like I remember sitting outside the food stamp office, like crying before I went in. I was like, I will not go in here. I will not go back on assistance, but I had to, because if I didn't, my kids were not going to be able to eat.
Yep.
We weren't going to make it. And so I said to myself, listen, you're going to keep going. You're going to push, which I say is persist until something happens. We're going to push through. You're going to push through. You're going to do what you got to do to get to the other side. And when I graduated and I got the offer, I was like, what? What? First of all, I'm going to get a chance to go work at this top law firm in St. Louis. And how much money am I about to be making? Girl, I don't even know what that was, right? I was like, what? I was like, I'm rich. I'm rich. And it was a great money. I wasn't rich, but I was rich to me. I had never seen money like that, right? And
Mhm.
I didn't have, unfortunately, anyone to really educate me about how to manage the money.
Mhm.
I was raised by my great aunt after my mother passed, and she did the best she could. But to be honest, we never really had big financial planning like sessions or education. And so when I got the offer and I got my first paycheck, I went and took my offer letter to a realtor. We got a pre-approval right on the spot because I had that 6-figure offer, right?
Yep.
My house, a 3-story, 3,000 square foot home, like home, big, beautiful home. I was like, all right, I got it. But I didn't know how to manage the money after that, right?
Mm.
And so the money, to be honest, I was almost living paycheck to paycheck, or after, because I didn't know how to manage it, to pay the mortgage, to pay a car note, to also like take care of the children. And because, I came from this life where like we didn't have a lot, I was automatically trying to give my kids everything
Right.
immediately. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I was like, okay,
Mhm.
no, we're going to take the vacations because I didn't travel, right? We're going to have this. You're going to go out to eat. Like I'm taking my little babies and stuff to restaurants. For what? You know what I mean? But like, I was just trying to like quickly make up for everything that I didn't have. And I didn't
Mhm.
have anybody telling me how to manage the money. Came to a point maybe 3 years in that I was really unhappy at the law firm because it wasn't me. Like I never was meant to be like in a box, right? I really
Mhm.
thought I was going to be living in South America, playing all over the world. And so I took a leap and moved from St. Louis to DC.
Mm.
I got an appointment as an assistant attorney general for the District of Columbia, which was an amazing job under the Obama administration, like super amazing. But to be honest, I took a pay cut, right?
Mhm.
Because I came into the government and I did not really understand how much of a pay cut that really was going to be because I was leaving the Midwest, coming to the East Coast. The
Mm.
cost of living was like triple. So I think when I came out here, I took a pay cut. I was maybe making like $85,000, which is still, people live off of less. So I'm not going to complain. But I had created a lifestyle, Nashaya, already that I needed to have that 6-figure. I needed that income. And
Yeah.
when I got here, I was like, holy crap, I don't know how to manage this money. I don't know how to make things work. I was trying to say, are we going to go buy milk today? What are we going to do? And I'm making still good money, but I was what they call working poor, right?
Mhm.
And very quickly, I had to tap again back into some assistance because we were struggling. And that is actually when things really started to click for me to say, listen, you got to figure out something else to do to put a little bit extra money in place. So if you want to take them out to the Ruby Tuesdays, like that used to be our restaurant, right? We want to
Yeah.
go to Ruby Tuesday. You need Ruby Tuesday money that can't come from your paycheck. Like you got to have another stream. And so I started then to think about, listen, what other things can I do?
Mhm.
Have a different, stream of income. But I was teaching myself, and that process, to be honest, I had to repeat that a couple of times as an adult, and even recently, because those things they catch up with you, right? Like even though you're doing well, the things that you've already put in place behind you, they follow you, right? So
Mhm.
I over leveraged with vacation properties, right? Those clubs, right? I over leveraged at one point with a car. I over leveraged with a lot of things, and then when you want to make decisions differently, like with your job, you're like, dang, I can't leave because
Mhm.
I'm working just to pay the dang on bills, not even to like live. I'm working to pay all this crap that I subscribed to 5 years ago when nobody told me, girl, don't, why are you buying a vacation property membership? That's, almost cursed. Like that, that ish is gonna kill you. You know what I mean? It's like all
Yeah.
things, but I did it at first because I thought I needed to have that to have a certain type of quality of life, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. And I'm glad that you talked about that because I think that a lot of people can resonate that. I can resonate with that too. Not that I was making like so much money to where, but it's that increase in pay and then automatically the lifestyle increases with that. And we don't allow ourselves to sit in that space that we're in for a little while so that we can one pause and kind of evaluate which direction we want to go in, and how we want to spend that money and what's really valuable for us, what's the lifestyle that we want to live. And a lot of us get into that cycle. I've done it too. Now I'm good with it, but I had to learn the hard way to get to this space. So I totally understand that. And like you said, you start subscribing to all these things, you inflate your lifestyle, and then when you want to downgrade or do something different, now you have all these obligations and things that now you have to be responsible for, and you can't get rid of them until the lease is up or the car payment is paid off or whatever. And now you almost feel stuck because you kind of have to wait it out and or make some more income to kind of accelerate paying it off. So yeah, I think many of us can relate to that. If y'all can relate to that, put a one in the comments because it's no shame, no shade, right? We live and we learn. And also, I like to point out that it doesn't matter like what our title is, how much our paycheck is. We don't have to subscribe to a lifestyle that people tell us we should have based on the amount of money that we're making or the title that we have. It's really based on what feels good to us and what we want to do with our money and the lifestyle we want to have. So that sometimes I feel like is difficult for people too because they're in a better financial space and they automatically assume, well, I want people to know that I'm doing well, and we want to show it when really it should be an internal thing. Like prove it to yourself, be happy with what you have accomplished, but you don't necessarily have to show it to the world and prove something because there's really nothing there to prove. So
So
I
true.
appreciate you sharing that. So now I know you were very successful with real estate. So can you talk about like how you got into that and how you were able to build up your portfolio, even though you were dealing with some financial stuff, but you still actually made some really good decisions. So how are you able to do that?
So you know what? That was I don't want to say the word luck, right? But it kind of was by luck because I ended up in the real estate practice. in my law firm. So
Mm.
when I summered at this law firm for 2 summers. And my first summer, they had us rotating through like litigation, and labor and employment was kind of the group I sat in. And the second summer when I went back, they gave me the same files like that I had worked on the first summer. And I was like, well, haven't you guys gone to court? Like this case, they were like, oh no, it's been continued, it's been done, all this. And so I reached out to the summer associate mentor. I was like, you know what? I don't think litigation is for me, because I need something to start and end. And I'm like, this is crazy bananas. And so she was like, okay, well, we think you'd be great in the litigation. You know, I have this mouth. And I was like, yeah, but this is not for me. Like, I need things to start and end. So they said, okay, where would you like to, to touch? Like, what would you like to experience? I didn't know anything about the practice. I didn't know nothing about law, like, especially a law firm. I was like, I don't know, like, where do you think I should go? So they were like, well, maybe you could go to transactions. And so they put me half the summer in corporate and securities, which was boring. And then the other was real estate, commercial real estate. I was like, oh, I like this. I like the deals. Things were moving quickly. And so when I got my offer, that's the group that I ended up in. And I literally just was exposed immediately to an entire different world. I had
Mm.
no idea about real estate. I didn't know, girl, I just knew about maybe you could buy a house or whatever, but I was working on strip mall deals. I was working on construction contracts, and I was literally helping people build. And I was like, I like this. And so what happened, and I like to tell people, when you go to work, don't just go to work, right? Go and catch something that you can implement in your own life. And so what I
Mm.
started to do was watch and listen. And all the people around me, they were buying homes and they had properties and they were doing this. And I was helping other companies and individuals who were very wealthy buy pieces of property. And I was learning the importance of it. And I was like, okay, I already had my home. And I was like, I wonder if I could have a piece of land. I wonder if I could do this. And I was like, well, I'm learning I do it for them every day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wonder if I could do this. When I got here to DC government, I met some really young Black developers who are my great friends now, mentor and clients. And I said, I want to figure this out. I would like to buy a building. My first apartment building that I bought here was a 2-unit building. My client helped me buy the building. He helped me write the pro forma, which is all the numbers to see like if this deal makes sense. He literally went with me to walk through the project and say, okay, this is good. This is you're going to have to put about $20,000 in it, to get it to where you want. I have a specialty in affordable housing. So I knew that there were programs out there that I could connect with where I could get tenants that were going to come right into the building, and I was going to have that automatic money. So I didn't care, like in the share, you don't have that money, don't matter. There's a program behind you that's going to pay me my rent. And so I used literally everything that I learned at work and everything I was doing for other people. I used that and implemented it in my own life. And so I bought my first apartment building. I was so excited about that. I renovated it with a team that I was able to manage because I learned how to write construction contracts. I learned about the development process. So I was able to literally just take my own job and implement it for myself. And then after that, I was like, okay, I got it. I understand this. So let me go and try to get some more land. Let me try to get into, some short-term, rentals with the Airbnb. I have a vacant property now of a lot that, we demolished a home on, and we're just holding the land. So I've just learned a lot from my job, and I've implemented it for myself.
Ooh, I love that. You monetize on your skills that you already had, girl.
Exactly.
Oh, that is so good. So good. Because it's like I find that we sleep on the things that we already are doing every day. And we're like, oh, I can't do that because I do that for my job. And it's like, no, so like, okay, somebody else will pay you for your skills and your expertise. There's people that can't do it as well as you. So why not make money outside of your job doing things that are easy for you? And it's just like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So I love that. And that's really like I'm kind of jealous because it's like, oh, I wish I had that knowledge and that just like, because it's like it really does open you up to so much more. And once you do it, it's kind of like, and I'm not talking about real estate because it's not like I know how to do. I just have my own home and I've never like invested in any other property. But I'm just talking about like things in general. But like once you do it one time, it's like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. And the second time, it's like, oh, okay, this is like I can completely keep doing this. And just hearing you talk about that and like real estate and the things for so many of us is so foreign, and it's like, oh, I wish I could be a part of that or make those moves. Like it's just really nice to hear. Like it's like, oh, okay, it is attainable. And I loved how you point on the fact that you the affordable housing and working with those programs, because that is almost like that's like guaranteed rent.
Yeah.
Where I know for like me, if I think about when I think about real estate investing, it's something that I definitely want to get into, but then I have almost that fear of what if I get that bad tenant that doesn't want to pay, they become a squatter, and now I'm going through evictions and all of that stuff, and now it's like it's not the reward that I was hoping for. But then again, I guess there's always going to be some risk with the reward. So
Yeah, listen, real estate is synonymous with the word risk. And so like you don't jump in the real estate game if you don't have some risk tolerance, because not every deal is going to go as planned. The money doesn't always come in the way you think, but the most important thing, just like having a business, is to have an exit strategy. So if the deal doesn't, cash flow, as we say, bring in those money babies, how can you exit? And generally you can always sell. And a lot of people are like, they frown on selling. Like, so that apartment building I told you about, I sold that building right before the pandemic, right? And I sold it because I was taking my first leap away from the law firm setting. So I left the firm setting twice. So now I left it, this time in March for good, never going back, right? But I left in 2018. At that time, I didn't think I was going to go back. And so I opened up a health and wellness business. I had a studio. Everything was going great. And I knew that I needed some time to ramp up. And so, when you go into the real estate sector, you don't always go in for the long haul, meaning like you may own something, doesn't mean you're going to own it or you need to own it forever, right? You go in with a reason, like, so you go in to build the equity, right? You go in because the market's going to build, and at some point you can sell it and then you can take that cash. And what happened is I sold that building, and that gave me enough money literally to live for like a year and a half without having to stress about money while I had the chance to build up my health and wellness business. So that it's a finance strategy as well, right? So I just want to tell people that when you get into real estate, you don't always think about holding it forever. And, I had a lot of people, and I want to say us, a lot of brown people saying, girl, why you gonna sell your building? First of all, say it's my building. So I'm gonna do what I want to do with my building, right? Don't live your dreams through me, okay? And then I'm like, because I have so much equity in this building that it doesn't even make sense to just keep it there, because I can use that money right now to go to another level. And so that's the other thing about real estate, is it can be that, that generational wealth builder. It can be that lifestyle builder. You get into the right type of project. And if you know what you want to do down the line, which kind of goes hand in hand with creating a business plan, right? So those of you all who have businesses, you'll always hear me say, do you have a business plan? Are you looking 3 to 5 years out? When you go into real estate, it's the same thing. You go in with a plan, right? 3 to 5 years out, you make your projections. What will this property do? How much cash will grow in this building or this property? And what is my exit strategy? Everything is not meant to be in there forever, right? You get in, you make your money, you sell it, you go take that money and you flip it, you do something else, right? So that for me, that was part of my strategy. And that's what I encourage a lot of people to do, is get in and get out. You don't have to stay in forever, and you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I mean, there's some things that you hold forever. Maybe if you just want to pass it down, like that home that I bought with my first 6-figure check, I still own that. I have a tenant in it. I don't really make any profit off of it. Like I just it's just enough to pay the mortgage and then put a little bit in a fund just for maintenance, right? But that home means something to me. So I'm not going to sell it. It's in a trust so that it'll pass down to my kids, my grandkids, or whoever else. And I have a lot that I acquired next to it, which is all lumped together. That I'm never going to sell. I don't
Mhm.
care how much it's, and that people ask me all the time to buy it. It means something to me. And so I'm keeping that. But my other properties, girl, come on, you guys, you got the right number. You can have it. You can have it.
I'll get another one. It's okay.
Another one here. You want it? Let me get that money.
I love that. But you also pointed out like the money management and the finance piece of one, building generational wealth, those wills, those trusts, those estates, right? And then also the money management piece of having properties and, like you said, breaking even, having enough money to put aside for maintenance. And I'm glad you talked about those things, because that's the other part of it is like, yeah, this one thing to be investing and looking at building generational wealth, but do you know how to manage that generational wealth? Do you know how to protect it so that it can be there for generations to come and not let them mess it up for the next generation after them? So can you talk about like, did you gain that knowledge of like, knowing how to manage like the mortgage and then putting the money away for maintenance and that type of stuff? Did that come from your doing the work as the attorney with the firm, or was that something you kind of just picked up as you were, kind of going through real estate and building?
Yeah, it came from the firm. It came from the firm. So when I purchased my home, I was at Thompson Coburn, which is an amazing firm. I just want to give them their flowers, right? And that's where I started off in St. Louis, Missouri, one of the top firms in the Midwest. Part of what they also did for you is you got a will created for you,
Mm.
right? Like, so you got a chance to sit down with the trust and estates attorneys, like the real attorneys who were charging people $500 an hour, right? You got a chance to sit down with them, and they helped you with your estate planning. And so I had just purchased my home, and they advised me on creating a trust, right?
Mhm.
And to put the home in a trust, to put anything that I own in a trust. And they said, as you go forward, anything that you buy in the name of the trust, right?
Mhm.
My insurance policies, the beneficiaries are not my children. The beneficiary is the trust, right? The home is in the trust. So they taught me that from get-go how to create that generational wealth. Now, I'll be honest, I did not understand at that moment what I was doing, but I was
Mhm.
doing it because they was doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I was
Yeah.
looking like, I like the way you living, and so and it was free, because that's a very expensive service to get your will done and get, the trust and estate advice. So I kind of just took advantage again of what was in front of me. And I like to tell people that when you have an opportunity to have free advice, you get free resources. You guys, you got to take advantage of it, because that free can help you to literally become free on the
Mm.
other end, right? And so that has just been a process. Every time I've done something and I've been able to create, what I would say some breadcrumbs to leave, it's been from what I've learned, from working within the practice of law.
I love that. Oh, yes. Take advantage of those free resources.
Please.
So often we like don't take advantage of it, and it's just like, oh, that's that free thing. I'm not going. Oh, I got something else to do. I'm gonna just lay on the couch instead because it's free. I signed up for it, but
It's
it
free.
was free. Like, and we miss out on so much value and things that we can implement that could really take us to the next level. And then what ends up happening is then we end up paying someone all of this money when we could have just done the free thing and just implemented it.
Yeah, and
And
implement
like,
it. Exactly. And like just like this right here, what we're doing, this is free. And a lot of times people, like you said, they want to they attach value to things that they pay for, which is not a bad thing, right? Because when you pay attention, and
mhm,
usually you pay attention, but it's not always, as you always hear, it's not what's taught, it's what's caught,
mhm,
right? Because people can teach you all day long, but if you're not really catching it, if you're not really grabbing it, then you still miss it. So this is free. This whole conversation we're having is free. So you should have your notepads out. You should be taking notes. You should be like, okay, I need to do this. Let me go see how my stuff is set up. Okay, okay. Always catch it, because I have learned that success leaves clues.
mm,
People who are successful, they leave clues because they just show you how they're walking. And a lot of times we miss that. because we're waiting for them to just tell us the magic sentence. If you just do this, this will happen. It's not like that. You got to watch how they moving, how they not moving, watch who they're with, who they're not with. Catch it. They're not always going to teach it to you. You got to catch it.
Yes, pay attention, open your eyes. Because right. Because they might not say it, but all the clues are there. I love that. I love that. And it's I'm glad you said that that sometimes it's not about I forgot how you said it, but
now what's taught is what's caught.
Yes, was caught, because I have been in different communities, coaching communities, whatever. And sometimes they're teaching the exact same thing. Maybe they're just teaching a different way, or sometimes it's exactly the same way. But depending on where I was in my life and my journey, I caught different things, or it landed differently, even though it was the same exact thing I had learned 6 months before or a year before, whatever. So I think that's really important that people listen to that, because you may not have caught it the first time, but after you keep hearing it over and over again, and then you also maybe apply it to a different situation or where you are in life, it may hit differently than when you heard it the very first time. So never give up on learning and paying attention to what people are doing and saying, because you might catch something that third time that they say it, even if they said this.
About like how you do become financially free. And I want to say with all transparency that I'm still growing and working through it all. All right. So when you look at me and you're like, oh, she's successful. Success means certain things to certain people, right? It doesn't mean like I'm a millionaire yet, and my mantra is, I am a millionaire. The truth is, I am a millionaire. Time just hasn't caught up with me yet. Right. And it's coming, my $1 million is coming. My $1 million liquid, life is coming, but I'm still working. But the thing about becoming financially free or financially independent or financially stable is taking some type of risk, right? It's also really having a strategy and working with someone else who's done it. That is the whole reason that I have now dedicated myself to being the business builder, right? Is because I believe that every woman, I guess every person, right? But I love the women. I love the women, right? You know what I'm saying? Every person has a business in them. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a full-time business. It doesn't have to be a quarter time. It could be like a seasonal business. I believe that every one of us has the ability to create our own money. This is a separate from someone paying you a paycheck at a 9-to-5 job. That's how you really get to the level of having that financial independence and financial freedom, when you can dictate how your money flows. You can dictate how you spend your time. When you can dictate the people with whom you spend your time and you work with and work for. And so I want to really open the conversation through the comments or through the DMs, and this is not the end, to what is it that you really, really desire in life? And then I want you to put a price tag on it. I really want you to figure out what you want in life and how much do you need to get there. So when you're working with me as a business owner, I always say, what are your financial goals? Like, what are you trying to make this quarter? What are you trying to make this year? And what I will see 10 times out of 10 is that women will retreat within themselves and they're like, oh, well, maybe $500. I'm like, well, we need to hang up, because if you're just trying to make $500, girl, you just might need to go be the greeter at Home Depot for 2 weekends. You got that. I'm like, I'm like, what do you really, really want out of life? Is it that you want to be able to take your family on vacations? Is it that you want to be able to, to buy the car? Is it that you want to just be able to have the money just to look at? Like, what is that you really, really want? And how much is that? Put a price tag on it. People say, don't put a price tag on happiness. Put a price tag on your happiness. Put a price tag on your freedom. Put a price tag on your time. And do not play small, because those of us who are playing small out here, you're not getting anywhere. You've got to dream big. You got to think big. You've got to say, listen, I want to make an extra $50,000. I want to make an extra $100,000. I want to have $1 million business. Say it. Say it, say it, say it, and believe it. It is okay to say it. It's okay to want money. We're taught, and I just want to talk about the African American community for a second. We're taught that we don't talk about money. We're taught that, oh, God will provide, the Lord will provide. No, no, the Lord will not provide. He is not writing checks. I'm just gonna be honest, right? I'm not out here to say God ain't real, because I know he's real. Thank you, Jesus. But he is not out here writing checks. It is okay to wake up every day and say, I want to have money. I want to take my life to another level. I don't want to have to be afraid that if my money goes from this one job, that my life is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. If for some reason that happens, what do you have inside of you to keep going? Because that has happened to me more than once. And just recently, I took a huge gamble this year when I left the formal practice of law, right? Like, I was making a nice 6-figure salary, right? I was making good money. I was not happy. I had not been happy for a long time. And it was really showing up in my work, to be honest, right? I was struggling,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I had to say, listen, what do I really want? I want to be happy. I want to be free. I want to be financially stable. I want to make actually more money than I'm making here with this nice 6-figure. But I couldn't because I was tapped out for time. So I took a leap. And when I left, thank God, like, I had saved money, right? And I've been able to live off of the money that I saved to get me ramped up, because you're not always going to make that money right away when you go into a business, right? You've got to have something. But what do you have inside of you to keep going? If for God forbid, the rug was pulled from underneath your feet. What do you have in you? There's got to be something deeper. And I always tell women, you are stronger than you know. You are so much stronger than you know. There's something inside of you that will keep you going if you only bet on yourself. If you only believe that I can do it. When life smacks you in your face, you got to know that you can do it. And when you want to become financially free and financially stable, you've got to really dig your feet down solid. And you've got to tell yourself, I will win. I will win. I can do this. And then you find your zone of genius. Every one of us has something that's special that someone else wants and needs. Maybe you know how to make earrings, right? I literally bought these from a lady at a craft table. She made these by her hand. I was like, you what? I'm going to need a couple of those pairs, right? We don't overlook your talents. You don't have to be a lawyer like me. You don't have to be a business strategist. Maybe you make the beautiful earrings. Maybe you can set up, amazing picnics. That's a whole business now. People, like, you can order a picnic. They will come set it up for you and leave. And they are charging some money for that. Like, what do you have inside of you that you can monetize? What do you have inside of you that someone else needs? You got to dig deep and know that there is some value in you. And I believe that is what has really helped me to keep going and to keep growing. And I'm going to be real honest, I'm always afraid. I think a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, she's got it all together. She's so confident. If you know me, if you really know me, I'll be like, oh Lord. Well, like Oprah Winfrey Color Purple. Oh Lord. I'll be like, I hope it's going to happen. I hope it's going to happen, right? Because I'm thinking big, I'm dreaming big, and I'm scared every day. And I take a deep breath. And I keep going, because if I stay still, if I stay in one spot, I'll never go. I'll never grow, and I'll never know. And I'm trying to tell that to you and you and you and you, whoever's listening, that your financial freedom, your financial stability is really just dependent on you believing in yourself. It's dependent on you betting on yourself. It's dependent on you understanding that you are ultimately stronger than you know. And once you step out there, you will be so surprised that your tribe will find you. The people that you need to grow, the people that you need to push you and elevate you, they will find you. You will find them. But you've got to take that step, right? And so I'm challenging every woman who can hear me today, whether you're watching this live or on replay, to sit down and ask yourself, what do I really, really want? What do I really want in life? And how much does that cost me? How much money do I need to get there? And then I need you to believe that you can get there. And I'm promising you that it will happen. I'm promising you that you can get there. All the people that you watch and you're like, oh, goals, hashtag goals. No, hashtag goals yourself. You out here trying to become the Beyonce. No, be your own say. You know, you try to do what everybody else is doing. Do what you need to do to become the celebrity in your own life, to become the star in your own world, because you can do it. And I'm really tired of like us not rooting hard enough for ourselves. I'm tired of us just, accepting those things that are just coming to us. I literally grew up going in and out of trash cans, looking for cans to go scrap to make money. I went to shelters to get plates of food. I wore hand-me-downs, clothes. I mean, girl, I wore pants that had like 4 or 5 cuffs in it. I'm talking about that was too big. I had the patches on the knees. I mean, I came from poverty. I know what it's like, but I was not accepting that. I told myself, I'm going to make it out of this life. I'm going to make it out of this life. This is not for me. I'm not accepting it. I'm telling you, don't accept it. Don't accept where you are right now. If you feel comfortable, push yourself a little bit more. You need to get uncomfortable so that you can hit that next goal, that next layer, that next level.
Listen, drop the mic, fire emojis, all the. I'm sitting here like, yes, girl. Oh my God, yes. Yes. All right, I'm going right now. I'm going. Let's
go. Let's go.
Oh, that was so good. And it is so needed because, yes, I love everything you said. And sometimes it, that risk, right? Of, if I do this big thing, it's so uncomfortable. What's going to happen? And not knowing really what the outcome is going to be is very scary. But we have to keep reminding ourselves we have to take those risks and have to do the big things, or else we're never going to know if it would have worked or how it would have turned out, because we just didn't follow through, or we didn't even take the chance to dream big and say those big numbers and, really get clear on that lifestyle, because it's like, I think that's out of reach for me. So I'm so glad you shared all of that, because it's so needed. And, a lot of times that person that we're looking at, the Beyonce that we're looking at, I love what you said, be your Beyonce.
Yeah.
Be your Beyonce. I was like, I got to write that down, but I couldn't write it down fast enough. But it's like, we don't know the season that they're in. They probably were doing that for 10 years before they got to the Beyonce that we see them as. And it's like, you didn't even give yourself 6 months and you gave up. Of course, you may not experience, not that it can't happen that fast, but give yourself time to go through that journey, make the mistakes, do all the things so that you can actually experience what it is that you want to experience. So thank you for all of that, because yes. And I'll be honest with you, this was not recently, because now I'm like, listen, I need to make all the money, because right? Like, I got too many talents and stuff that I just need to be making lots of money. But there was a point where I was nervous to like write down everything that I wanted. And then when I did write it down, like there was some apprehension of like really looking up what that costs. Like, what did it cost to have a personal chef and a housekeeper and a personal trainer and all of these things? And yes, okay, I can write it down, but writing the price and then adding it all up and seeing it's like $10,000 a month, is like, do I really want that? Because now that means I gotta consistently make more than $10,000 a month. So it's like, now there's this added pressure of, but it's like, that's really not a lot of money at all in the grand scheme of things. So, so I think it's good to dream big, because it feels uncomfortable, but it also lets you know, like, you really could experience like life the way you really want to experience it without playing small. So thank you for all of that you just shared with us.
You're welcome. And you just said something that I want to just kind of like hit on. And that's, so you write it down, you have the numbers, you're like, this is what I want. And yes, it's going to take work. So I don't want anybody to miss what I'm telling you. Yes, you can have everything that you desire and that you deserve. It does take work. It takes work. It takes being consistent. It takes showing up. So a lot of times, this world of social media will make you think that you can wake up today and be like, I want to sell beads, whatever. And all I need to do is go live every day and say, oh, look at my beads. And you're going to make 6 figures. That is not true. It doesn't happen like that. There is a lot of work that does come with getting to the next level, but it's worth it. right? Nothing comes for free.
Mhm.
Nothing comes for free. But I'm going to tell you that work feels different when you're working for yourself. When you're doing something to get to your own level, where you're not trying to meet, a benchmark from the supervisor or whatever. When you are your own supervisor, it's different. But it is going to take work. It's going to take consistency. So those of you all who may, have these financial goals, to break even and then break through these chains, or to start a business, I need you to understand it is going to require you to do something different. So you're never going to get to another level doing the same thing that you're doing now. Like, that's just the truth. All right. You want something different, you got to move different. You got to work different. And then things will open up, and things do get easier once you get to a certain level. They do, because you have a little bit more money, you can hire a team, and then you don't have to be so involved. But it does take work. And a lot of times when I'm working with business owners and I'm struggling, I was just sharing this with you the other day, it's like I have these people who are super talented on my roster, but then they hit a brick wall, and it's their own brick wall. Sometimes we are our own barrier. You dream big, please dream big, but understand you got to work big too. All right. And there are resources out here. There are people out here who will help elevate you, but you do have to work hard to get that number that you write down on that paper.
Say that. Say that.
Hey, I'm saying, we working, honey. We working over here. We working. It may look fun, and it is fun, but we're still working. Like this. This is work. Someone will be like, oh, what do you know? You just show up and do interviews. This is work. This is a whole job. This is a whole, you can't even say I got a whole little studio up in the living room, sold my dining room table. My son's like, what is going on? I'm like, I need this room. I need this room. He's like, this is weird. I'm like, I need to create a studio up in the house. This is a whole job, right? Like, I just got through taking an amazing trip to Spain. Like, never would have thought that I would be on a book promotion tour in Spain. I took the stage, I spoke, and did a motivational speech in Spain. People were like, oh my God, your life is so amazing. It's so fun. Yes, that was fun, but that was work. Yes. I was working. I was doing emotional work over there. I was depleted, girl. They had me working, like really releasing more trauma stuff. I didn't even know it was still up in there. I was like, God, when does it end? Right? It was like, but that was work. Because I had to still clear a lot of demons so I could go to another level. I had to work. I had to prepare for a speech. I had to do it. I mean, I was working. It looked fun. It looked glamorous, but it's work. And I want to remind you all that when you see people and you're like, oh, they just living the life. Oh my God, they got that life. It's work. It's still work. Yep. You went to Beyonce's concert. We could talk about it because I know y'all love Beyonce out there. That was work. Y'all talking about how she gonna complain? She on the stage for 3 hours. She is working. You think that is not work? Right. So we have to understand that y'all gotta be realistic about this stuff. It may look fun, but it's work.
Yes. Y'all don't see the behind the scenes. All you see is what happens when you show up for 5 minutes or a half an hour or an hour. It's like, oh, okay, they cool. That's cool. I could do that too. Like, all right. But you don't know that we had to put the StreamYard together. Like, like there's steps that go to that. And then it's like, or, you got to make sure your assistant has it all together. And it's like, there's a lot of things that happen. And even the mental capacity to show up and do these things. You talked about the emotional capacity, the mental capacity, like planning to make sure your family is good, your kids are good. If you have a partner, like all these things need to kind of fall and go into place for it to all happen. So yes, there's a lot that needs to go on behind the scenes so that we can show up so wonderfully. But Lauren, you really close us out on a lovely note, and I truly appreciate just knowing you and just having access to all of your amazingness. And I truly want people to buy the book. Because I haven't actually even had a chance to read the other women's chapters that are in the book because I've been reading some other things, but just your chapter alone is powerful. So I'm like, listen, I got to get to the other ones too, So yeah, please take some time to go on Amazon and purchase Lauren's book. We're gonna put in the comments if you want a copy of the book, you plan on purchasing the copy, you want a link, just put book in the comments, right? And Lauren's going to go back and drop the link. It looks kind of, we can't get it shorter. So, you know, it makes more sense for us to drop it. So drop book in the comments if you want access to how to purchase the book, because you really need to understand Lauren's story and look at where she started to where she is now, and how she talked about, you know, she's still growing. There's still stuff she's working through to continue to be successful. And that's, you know, just so powerful in itself. And I'm super happy that you were transparent in the book and that you were willing to come and talk about all your awesomeness today. So thank you very much.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please comment book below. And actually, this Friday is my birthday and I'm doing a giveaway. So you actually can win a free copy of the book that is autographed and a $25 Visa, I mean, not Visa, but Amazon card. All you have to do is make sure you're following me either on Instagram or here on Facebook, and that you join my free, there's that word free, Business Builder Lounge. And that will give you access to legal and business strategies for free. And then you'll be entered. I'm going to give away 3 free copies of the Women Thrive Volume 2 book, autographed specifically to you, and the Amazon gift cards. But if you don't get the free book, it is worth your investment. My story, yes, it is powerful, but I was able to work with 6 other amazing women to put this book together, and every chapter has something for every woman. The book is about women who have experienced adversities and who have survived and who are thriving. You will find yourself in more than one chapter, right? You will be able to identify with these women, and then you will also understand that you are stronger than you know, and that you are able to overcome any obstacle that is put in front of you.
Oh, thank you so much. Y'all put in the comments and then do whatever she told you to do. Follow her, go to her group, because it's a dope group. She gives like so much free stuff. It's like I said to her the other day, I'm like, girl, like the stuff that you're giving away for free, there are people charging thousands and thousands of dollars for, and you're just giving it away for free. And as she mentioned before, sometimes people overlook that because there's no monetary number attached to it. It's like, oh, it's not as valuable as this thing I just spent $10,000 or $20,000 for that I didn't even implement.
Say it for the people in the back that you didn't even implement. You spent all that money and you didn't implement. And I'm literally in this Business Builder Lounge. If you want to start a business, I'm telling you how to do it. I got documents in there. I mean, there's trainings, and I didn't even take down my last Elevate Your Earnings Masterclass. And I was going to, but I was like, I'm going to leave it up. So you can literally go through a 5-day workshop where I break everything down for you. There's a workbook. It's free and you should implement it. And if you're talking about for real breaking through and making some money, making some changes in your life, get yourself inside the Business Builder Lounge and commit to like binge watching things over your holiday break. And do not start off 2024 the same way that you ended 2023. I don't care if you're balling out of control, ball higher. All right. If you're poor right now, we're not going to be poor first quarter 2024. You know me. You know me now. You have been exposed to me. You are now part of my world. So my whole goal out here is to make you go to the next level. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm sharing everything I know with you. Why? Because we all need to win. I'm not trying to be up here by myself. I'm going to make me start preaching again. I'm just saying, like, you know, I get passionate about it because people be forgetting about, listen, I'm not charging you $10K just to talk to me. I'm just saying, click the link, get inside my free community and do what you need to do and level up. That's going to make me proud. That makes everything I've done worth it.
Listen, Mama has spoken. We gonna follow some instructions and shut up. Because Mama has spoken, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't need to say nothing else other than thank you so much. And please do what Lauren just advised you to do, because one, get access, opportunity to win your free copy and the $25 Amazon gift card. Also, beyond that, like, really get access to this information, because if you're in a business or looking to start a business, like, her community is really going to set you up for all of that. She truly gives you every single step. Yeah, like it's just a no-brainer to be in there. And then, you know, if you want more support, then you talk to her about hiring her. But if not, everything is right in the group. So it's, yeah, you just must be in there. So thank you again for Lauren. Thank you again, Lauren. And y'all have an awesome evening. And I appreciate y'all for watching. Later.
Thank you so much for having me. See you inside the lounge.